Lagos, lovely morning to you. Welcome to the last 1 hour of the show, Morning Crossfire here. We're broadcasting live from Etimi and Chris in the Victoria Island, Lagos, Nigeria. I'm Sheriff Quadry. It's good to know that you're there. You can watch live right now on Facebook and on YouTube as we're live on those two platforms. Just search for Nigeria Info 99.3. This morning, we're continuing with our conversation that we had last Tuesday, a week ago, about waste management in Lagos. I have my guest here as usual. Olugbenga Adebola is the boss at Reachable Environmental Services. Olugbenga Adebola, a very lovely morning to you, sir. Thank you for joining us again.
Good morning,
I know that you're a very busy person. Thank you so much for coming.
We just have to be here for the environment.
Absolutely. Femi Adegoke is a chartered waste and resources engineer. He's also the founder of Save the Earth Group. Thank you, Femi, for coming.
Good morning, Mr. Sheriff. Good morning, Nigerians.
Pleasure to have you. I know you two, you're very busy. This waste business thing, I think I'm going to come and join you people. It's not easy bringing you people here back to back in 2 weeks. So, Lagos, Nigeria, feel free. Let's have your conversation. Yeah, let's have your questions. You know, last week we weren't able to answer much of your questions last week. We had to leave in a hurry. But today, we'll make sure that we make it very, very engaging for you to be able to share your thoughts and all of that. So last week, we spoke effectively on the importance of waste management in Lagos State and the country at large. Femi Adebola said waste pickers, inappropriately referred to as scavengers, contribute about 70% to waste gathered in Lagos, where only a small percentage is gathered formally. We would double down even more effectively on the so-called, in quotes now, scavengers, those people that you see in your streets picking stuff. We'll double down on them more and enlighten ourselves more on what they do and how they do their things and how you can empower yourself as well in getting involved in informal waste management. In addition, Benga Adebola said there is a huge problem with waste collection in Lagos, hence the stakeholders are creating some ways through the Lagos Recycling Association to bring together both formal and informal collectors with a means of identification. That way, there can be sanity in that space and it can be more effective. So it's been estimated that out of the millions of metric tons of waste generated every year in the country, only a fragment of it is being managed, if you like, call it recycled at this point in time. What this means is that the business potential of recycling are currently being underutilized in that space. I have stakeholders here in the studio, and we will be talking about how this is playing out and what are the challenges that is being faced in that space, especially when it comes to waste management. Olugbenga, let me start with you very quickly. And I want to start with the landfill sites in Lagos. I don't want us to go back to, that's why I gave a brief summary of what we discussed yesterday. But I want to start with last week. I want to talk about the landfill sites in Lagos. How many do we have? You know why I asked this question? Because you kind of like just see spaces and people just dump refuse there. In almost every, especially when you visit some areas on the mainland, some places that normally shouldn't be a site for waste dump. I don't know if these sites are designated sites for waste dumps, but you kind of like just see that everybody in that community, they just put, and I don't know if it's by default, they just go to that space and just dump their sites there. I'm aware that we have about 4 landfill sites. Is that true?
Well, yes, Sheriff, and no. We really, and sadly, we really do not have a landfill site and what I call engineered landfill sites in Lagos.
We don't have?
We do not have. What we have are what I call dump sites, or what you could say disposal sites, occurring naturally some occurred because there have been some excavation at that area, and they needed to more or less fill it up with waste. So we do not have purposely built sanitary or engineered landfill in Lagos.
What does it look like normally? What should it be like, the landfill sites?
Well, to have an engineered landfill site, it is, like I said, purposely built.
Okay.
Of course, it comes with a lot of excavation, removing the soil, making what you could call in layman's language, some excavation, and then you line it up. Every landfall site must be lined. That it must have a liner.
Okay.
This liner are actually to prevent the percolation of the leachate. And if you ask me what is leachate is a very toxic substance, liquid substance, that is generated or that is created when organic waste actually decomposes. And it has an opportunity to mix with water, rainwater. This is highly toxic, highly carcinogenic. And in most cases in Lagos, all our dump sites do not have this they are not sanitarily engineered, so they do not have these liners, and so they allow for penetration of this toxic liquid content into underground water table, which actually pollutes the water. Right. Also, a sanitary engineer, of course, when it is lined, it comes with pipings that will collect the leachate, pipings that will actually collect the biogas. Last week we talked about the generation of methane among several other biogas that is generated at the dump site. This leachate, this biogas, methane in particular and other gases, are expected to be collected. So at a sanitary landfill site or engineered landfill site, these biogas are collected and they are treated. And of course, in some cases, if the worst come to the worst, they are flared. But that is not even good. You can use this biogas, especially methane, to generate to power gas-powered generator, and then you generate your electricity. You can bottle it up and use it for home cooking. You can use it in diverse areas. So a landfill site also has what we call a step-by-step management, what do I call it now? System. Okay. Whereby when waste is received, it is either sorted out, and then you could either do daily coverage. You cover the waste to prevent, the activities of rodent, birds, and all that. You could do this. There could be some level of daily coverage. Right. Of course, there could also be some level of weekly coverage, and then monthly coverage and quarterly coverage as it were. But what we have in Lagos, sadly, is just a disposal site where every Tom, Dick, and Harry, especially if you are a waste collector, just dump your waste. And that is even different from those ones that are indiscriminately created. And those are the ones that you talked about.
Yes.
Many of these occur when a particular land is abandoned. Suddenly, and we are used to it. We are used to this in Africa.
Yes.
In Yoruba, they say tabagbale.
Everywhere.
In Yoruba, they say tabagbale, tabagbata. Akiton la dari esi. So the akiton is what we are used to. Just your backyard. And in fact, we do sweep, we do tidy up our environment, our compounds, but we just take them and dispose them somewhere and keep them, believing that out of sight is out of mind. Out of sight is not out of mind, because the problem we are creating by dumping those wastes indiscriminately will still come back to haunt you. And that's why we say it is whatever you give to the environment that the environment actually gives back to you.
Femi, let me come to you. You are a chartered waste and resource engineer. So this is your space through and through. You're trained in the UK. Yeah. The way we are currently managing waste in Lagos, I know it's not perfect, but is it even at par with where we should be?
To be honest, it's not at par with where we should be. That's the direct answer. But having said that, it's a responsibility for all of us, from the citizens. I always say this: the citizens have a major role to play in this. We must all take responsibility, and like Mr. Debola said now, it is whatever we throw to the environment that the environment throws back to us. So as citizens, we need to have that paradigm shift it must change our mindset. I believe the behavioral and attitudinal change is key for us to get to where we want and where we need to be. Because if that is not starting from home, then whatever infrastructure you build, whatever knowledge we have as professionals, if we don't get the waste sorted from source, if we don't get the people to believe in what we're going to do to it,
Right.
then it's like building a pedestrian crossing and the people don't know how to use it. And they're still crossing the highway under the pedestrian crossing.
Yeah.
So the pedestrian crossing there is just as useless as not having it. So what am I saying? As industry professionals, government, every stakeholder has a role to play. So we need to begin to build advocacy to our to the citizens that look, this is a collective effort for us to keep our environment clean and safe.
Where does the role of the government start and where does it stop in waste management? I've heard this argument from experts such as you. Some have said that government is doing, especially Lagos State government, the government is doing enough by the activities through LOMA in packing waste and everything. Is that where the involvement of government should stop in waste management?
No, the involvement of government, it's actually from bottom to top, from top to bottom. It's a circular economy now. So government has to be involved. Government is a key stakeholder. From the development of the policy, government is supposed to develop policy. Government is supposed to enforce the laws. Government is supposed to incentivize the citizens, make them understand why these laws are there. And government has to regulate the practitioners as well.
That's right.
So the government is all the way, just like all of us are all the way. So it's a collaborative effort.
Is that what is obtainable now when you talk of the government?
Well, yeah, Lagos, to a large extent, like I said last week, Lagos is setting the pace in Nigeria. Let's not deceive ourselves. I've been to other states, little or nothing is happening. But in Lagos, at least to the barest minimum, we have the working agencies like LOMA, LASEPA, and then the Lagos State Ministry of Environment. There is a 5-year agenda, strategic plan now for waste management in Lagos.
Okay.
That's the beginning. Now we need to go out to inform the people on what these plans are and what the role the citizens from the ward. That's the way I read. It has to start from the ward to the local government to the state as a whole. It has to be a robust collaborative effort. So Lagos is doing fairly well. And
fairly well.
Yeah, fairly well in that aspect.
Lagos is very dirty and smelly and
Lagos is dirty.
Trash everywhere.
Yeah, Lagos is dirty because the people are not keen into what the government is doing yet. That's the honest truth. The people, I don't want to go back. The people reversed 4 years ago, and it's becoming a hard work to get them back to where they were 4 years, 5 years
before then.
Yeah, before then. So because if you remember during the BRF time, Lagos became a very clean city where waste was being collected, and even when you look at Lagos then, people come to learn. You see the compactor trucks. I remember when BRF took the PSPs, and they got about 100 or 200 compactor trucks. And everybody was like, wow. And that's what Ghana is doing now. Ghana just did that recently. They got so many compactor trucks. So imagine Lagos has done that at that time. We're talking about almost 8 years ago now that BRF was governor of Lagos State. So imagine we had not had that setback. But having said that, the 5-year plan for waste management in Lagos now, that's the immediate plan, is to begin to work it. Advocacy, recycling, waste management from source. And then we begin to develop a circular economy. There are people, like we said last week, your waste is somebody else's resources. Like I always say, waste is a resource and not a problem. For people like me, for people like Mr. Adebola here, we don't see waste as a problem. We see waste as a resource. But a sustainable waste management system is needed to deliver that resource.
What do you mean by sustainable waste management system?
Okay, what I mean is, like, a what we call waste management hierarchy,
Okay.
which everybody must take part from the citizens. So prior to now, what we're used to is take, make, dump. That's what we talked about. But now we're not take, make, dump anymore. We want to take, make, use, reuse, recycle, recover. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a circular economy. It becomes a way of life. It becomes a developed sector. Like you said when you were saying, the waste management industry is a very huge, a multi-billionaire
That's right.
industry. But there are things that needs to be done for you to deliver that.
Mr. Adebola, what are the things that need to be done for us to get to that place that we should be in terms of waste management?
Well, thank you very much once again. Honestly, it's like a tripod or a triangle, which has a top, and then below you have one side and then the other side. At the top of the pyramid is government.
Okay.
And then below one side, you have the waste generators, which is very key, a critical stakeholder. And then at the other side, you have the waste players, either you
The waste
call
managers.
them the managers, you call them PSP, you call them recyclers and all that. Now, because government is sitting at top of the pyramid, government, like he said, needs to come up with a sustainable policy. And this policy must be arrived at using what I call bottom-top approach.
Okay.
You need to interact. You need to engage with the people, with the waste generators, even the waste managers, and everybody. First of all, you need to identify the critical stakeholders operating within the waste management industry, even within the society at large, to be able to arrive at a sustainable system. And let me tell you this. We need to also take into cognizance the peculiarities of areas.
Okay.
And I dare tell you that there's no fix-it-all solution within the waste management industry. A system that is workable in Ikoyi will not necessarily work in an area called Ajangbadi.
Okay.
Will not necessarily work in an area called Agege.
Yeah.
So you need to sit down with the locals and develop, and that's why I said
Who should sit down with the locals?
the government must provide that enabling environment. That's why I said government sit at top of the pyramid, at top of the triangle. So government must formulate policy.
Do you think we're taking the issue of waste management so seriously, Mr. Because what you're saying now is they are very germane and they can only make meaningful impact if, as a people, as a government, we're seeing waste as some form of wealth creation, as against some form of this responsibility of packing dirty in this place. You know, I'm wondering, you are the players in this space. Is that how the government is seeing the issue of waste?
Yeah, well, I dare say we need to continue to think globally and act locally.
Absolutely.
That's the only way we can achieve a meaningful and a sustainable result. Like Femi has said, Lagos is actually leading the pack, even though we are not where we are supposed to be. We know this.
Sorry, Bola, please. I need to interrupt you again because this time around, I'm not asking questions. We need to go on a break. Otherwise, this system will cut everybody off this morning.
Okay.
So when we return, I'll come back to you so you can land on your point. Lagos, please join us again. We'll be right back. Stay here.
This is an infomercial.
Everywhere you go, you hear the phrase, we move. It's not just words. It's an expression of hope and belief. It's the unstoppable energy of bright minds. When things aren't going as planned, we don't give up. We move. Rejections won't hold us down. Disappointments won't derail us. We keep grinding because every step we take counts. So, whatever you do, never stop believing in you. Turn up your dreams because whatever life brings, we move. MTN. Everywhere you go, we move.
More talk, news, and sports after this.
The European club football season is over, but football never sleeps. Enter the UEFA European Football Championship. The pandemic could only delay, but never deny the fans the excitement they crave as the Euros take center stage. It's Euro 2020 in 2021, a tournament with a difference, with scenes all over the European continent, traversing state lines and capitals, from Rome to Baku, St. Petersburg, Amsterdam, Bucharest, Glasgow, Copenhagen, Seville, Munich, and London. The coverage is global and the cast nationwide.
They seem to keep hold of the ball, see so much of the ball, but at the end of the day, they tend to do little or nothing with the ball.
Floated into the box! It's in! A player who's been having a renaissance after season.
He connected to the pass like a socket, fired the shot like a rocket.
From no other person but Rafa.
Experience. Watch all the Euro 2020 action live from Supersport on Showmax Pro. Sign up at showmax.com.
Not a new level. For example, your ticket from Baskin. Yesterday's gone today. If it be a lucky day for Baskin, you are royal. You come make me bet with Baskin. Go check these scores today. If it be a lucky
Bet King. Playground for kings.
Apollo, my guy. How every now?
Benjo, what in now? That is money you just to call me.
See, 9 Mobile, they give me call bonus while off finish. Now all my guys go here.
If you never recharge your 9 Mobile line for 40 days or more, recharge 200 naira and above, and we go summer you 6 times your recharge and double data bonus.
Apollo, my guy.
Benjo, see, I go block you now. You go see.
Terms and conditions day. 9 Mobile.
Our oil sachet. 70 naira. Only 70 naira. I said our oil sachet now. 70 naira. Only 70 naira. Opunga cooking oil now. 70 naira. For a healthy family. 70 naira. Opunga cooking oil now. 70 naira. Our oil sachet. 70 naira.
Power oil for a healthy family.
Sweetie, you look so worried.
Honey, I am so confused.
Our landlord has given us just 1 week to pay the rent we are owing or pack out, and I have no cash on me. I tried selling my car, but buyers are not just turning up.
What? Sell your car? Why don't you just get a quick loan from Cash Drive Instant Loans?
Cash Drive Instant Loans? Yes, Cash Drive offers instant loans for car owners. With Cash Drive Instant Loans, you can get up to 20 million naira in 24 hours without a guarantor, using just your car as a collateral, and you can still drive it. Apply now on www.cashdrive.co. For more information, call us on 0122 99954 or WhatsApp on 0802 857 2566 or 0817 555 6789. Cash Drive Instant Loans. We are on your side.
With Airtel Home Broadband device, your home is connected and you all can focus on the important things in life. Enjoy the finer things in life in the Airtel HBB seasonal offer. Visit any certified Airtel shop to get a 4G MiFi at 9,999 naira plus up to 55 gigabyte bonus data, or router at 19,999 naira plus up to 160 gigabyte bonus data. Offer valid while stock lasts. Terms and conditions apply.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
We're back. We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
We are back.
We're back on 99.3 Nigeria Info. This is Morning Crossfire on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Welcome back to Crossfire 99.3 Nigeria Info. I'm Sheriff Quadry. 8:32 is time from our studios. Oh Lord, please help us. We have to finish this conversation today. I mean, we didn't stop talking during the break, and we have been talking all morning through the break. And we are getting your comments coming through. We'll attend to them. We'll take your calls, so you can call in now and ask your questions as we go along, so we can have a more robust conversation with you out there. If you have questions and concerns concerning waste management in Lagos, feel free to call in and share your thought. The numbers are 0700 993 993 993. That's for the men. 0700 993 993 993 and 01 465 7190. That is 01 465 7190. For the female, the ladies only. But before I go to the telephone, I have to allow Mr. Adebola to land on his train of thought before we went on that break. I have Olubenga Adebola in the studio, and Femido Adeoke, the two gentlemen are stakeholders in the waste management space. Mr. Adebola, let's go on with your contribution.
Okay. Before the break, I was talking about what the government needs to do.
Yes, please.
I started by saying we need to articulate a bottom-top policy approach to develop a policy that is all-encompassing, taking into cognizance the local peculiarities. Because I said, and we know that there is no fix-it-all solution within the waste management industry. Now, having articulated an all-encompassing policy, government also needs to ensure effective and efficient policy implementation.
Okay.
You don't just formulate policies. There are so many policies being formulated in Nigeria for the past several years, and they are not being implemented. Government needs to ensure that these policies so formulated are effectively and efficiently implemented.
Right.
Government also needs to ensure that there is what is called policy monitoring.
Policy
monitoring. They must monitor.
Some kind of supervision.
Yeah, they have to. Either directly or through the activities of engaged consultants.
Okay.
You need to supervise to ensure that the A that is said in the policy is the A that is being implemented. So you need to monitor the implementation of that policy. It is the role of the government, or the government has to provide that enabling environment for policy monitoring. Of course, government also have to incentivize or even punish. It's like a carrot and stick approach. There is nowhere all over the world, especially in Africa. Our people are so fantastic, but they will not implement or do what they need to do until there are some level of either enforcement or incentivizing. Now, of course, before this, in all this, government needs to engage. There must be continuous public enlightenment, education, and all that and all that. Let the people realize. Some people are seeing waste as a different thing. Government needs to break it down. What is the correlation? What is the relationship between the waste you generate and your health? What is the relationship between the waste you generate and what wealth? What is the relation between the waste that you generate and your environment, and so on and so forth? So there must be continuous. And I dare say this public engagement, education, and enlightenment must start from the grassroots. It must come on the radio like this that people listen to. You have motorized public enlightenment and all that and all that. But above all, government must have that political will all over Africa. There are some things we did with the United Nations and all that, trying to study generally waste management and implementation in Africa. What is lacking in Africa generally, and not only Nigeria,
in terms of waste management?
In terms of waste management, in terms of many policy, is the political will. Political will to implement or to enforce. Now, government need to have that political will to implement and enforce. We should stop haphazard programs. We should have that political will, set a target to say within the next 2 years, this is what we're going to be, like the 5-year strategic plan of Lagos State on waste management. I want to see how far we can. You know, that political will also ensure that government provides the needed enabling environment. And when we talk about enabling environment, it's so big, it's so huge. But to a private sector, what is enabling environment? A government must ensure that you liberalize, the coming in of the private sector. Access to funding, it's been a major issue within the waste management industry. And I dare say this, that waste management is highly capital intensive. Every little thing you want to do within the waste management industry is expensive. Now, most of the equipment in particular are dollarized. So the exchange rate,
because we don't make most of those equipments locally.
We don't make, not even the spare part. Everything, even the fuel that the vehicles, the gas that they consume is dollarized.
So how can government now come in to make it more easier?
Well, first of all, in terms of access to funding, government needs to make sure that the players within the industry have access to what I call a low interest rate kind of funding, not the cutthroat 25, 26, 30% that is available through commercial banks. You need to also...
How expensive are these equipment? Maybe we should put it in perspective so people can understand why you want a special kind of arrangement being made, for players in that space. For instance, let's just...
Okay, for instance, for a compactor that everybody sees flying around Lagos Road, a Tokumbo, which is what they call Belgium or the foreign used compactor, now cost between 13 and 15 million naira. Used one that has been used in Europe, in America for over 10 years or thereabout. That's what we call Tokumbo here. It will cost you about 15 million naira. That is used one. For new one, depending on the region from where you are bringing it, Asia, Europe, America, and all that, it is going to cost between 35 and 55, even 60 million naira.
Ordinary cooler
a single truck. And a PSP, so to say, or a waste manager is expected, at least the least you can have is 2. In some cases, people have as much as 5, as much as 10, as much as 20. Even in recycling, the recycling equipment itself is highly capital intensive. Maybe a Nigerian fabricated another will cost at least between 7, 8, and 10, maybe 15 million naira. But if you are talking of the imported ones that have precision, that has guarantee and all that, depending on what you want to recycle, depending on the capacity in terms of what you do on an hourly basis, it is going to cost between 60 to 100 million naira. Just equipment alone. Not to talk of the infrastructure, Not to talk of, you also have to provide your own energy, electricity. In my facility, I have a 450 kVA generator. And when that generator sneezes, in terms of, putting it on, I know how much diesel it consumes. There is no electricity in this country. And ironically, I dare say, the same electricity that is lacking in this country, we can generate the required and the needed electricity from conversion of waste into energy, into electricity, from using so many methodologies. So the waste itself, we talked about Olusosun sometimes when it was gutted by fire.
That's right.
It was the functionality of the methane freely available at the dump site at that time. That same methane can be tapped and converted. A research that we did that we wanted to do at that time will have generated nothing less than 10 megawatt of electricity.
10 megawatts?
Yes, from Olusosun. And it could be scaled up. That is the quantum of waste.
Adebola, let me come to the telephone and speak with a couple of people that are here. 0700 993 993 993 and 01 465 719 04, the ladies. Please, when you're calling, please go straight to the point so we can take as many thoughts as possible. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, Sheriff. Good morning.
Morning to you.
Adegoke from Lekki.
Welcome.
Greetings to your guest and greetings to my namesake.
Hello.
Adegoke. I think you've addressed a bit of it, the conversion of the waste to electricity. In Nigeria, is the government actually investing in this? How serious are they, as in the federal government, even above, and the state? You talked about Lagos State. I don't see anything Lagos State is doing about that particularly. We don't have light in this part of Lagos. In fact, the whole Lagos, basically, the light is not stable. So what are the government doing to diversify into the different areas which we can generate electricity for?
All right, okay, thank you for your thought. Let's take another one. Hello, good morning to you.
Morning, Sheriff.
Morning to you.
Good morning to your guest in the studio.
Good morning to you too.
My question is, please, why do the Loma allow people to bring refuge from their home into the expressway? And as Phil said, maybe you need more hands. Normal, they are not doing their job accordingly now. If you go from Mile 2 down to Shudi, express is littered with refuge. If you are going from Mile 2 down to Koko, everywhere is flooded with refuge. What are you going to do with all this? That's my question.
Thank you too.
And finally,
yes,
the manager, that's who swept the road, at times they sweat reducing the refuge into the gutter. Some of them, not all of them, at times come down to challenge them. Why do you do this? So please monitor them. That's my stand.
All right. Just to be very clear, my guests are not from Loma. They are not from the state government. Because I've seen like two questions already that are supposed to be for the government. But hey, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Somebody is asking a very direct question on WhatsApp, though. Joy is joining us right now. We'll take Joy's call. After Joy, Joy is in Ikeja. After Joy, then I'll come to you on a very direct question that this person has put through to us on WhatsApp. Good morning, Joy.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
I'm so happy you're talking about waste management in Lagos. And my own contribution here is this. Lagos is very dirty. And we shouldn't compare Lagos to every other state in Nigeria because in all, they are all disaster. None of them are just working. Now, the Lagos is actually working. It's also not doing the work well. We have a dump site somewhere. I don't know. Maybe it's a new system, whatever. There. That place is so smelly. So if we say we want to have a cleaner Lagos or we want to have a world-class where refuse are well managed, what we have at that is, I don't know if it's a new system. I don't know what that is called. It is so dirty. I pity people who live around there. Now, what are the councillors in the local government doing?
Right.
How are they sensitizing people? So you tell people, learn how to separate your waste. It is very important. And let them enforce it. Whoever is not doing that should let the full wrath of the law be on that person. But we don't see People just behave anyhow they like. You see, our refuse, our what's it called, gutters filled with bottled water and all not. So people should be, whether you are educated or not, learn how to separate your waste. This should be here, that should be there. If you don't do that, when Loma comes to collect, let them find you for not doing that. That's my question.
Thank you, Joy. That's a very brilliant contribution, Joy. Thank you for sharing your thought. But let me add this to Joy's contribution. I'll come to you, Femi, on this one. This person says, what is your association doing about 1, standardization, 2, pricing of waste material? But he's talking about, he put something in bold here in waste recycling. So he's particularly talking about waste recycling. He said standardization, pricing of waste material, pricing of reprocessed material, quality of reprocessed material. 4 points here. His name is IBJ in Lagos.
Okay. Thank you, IBJ. The first question is, what is our association doing about standardization? Prior to now, in the recycling space, there's what we call the informal and the formal sector. So and everybody operates in silos separately. So what the association is, the first thing the association is doing is to bring all stakeholders in that space, both informal and formal sector. We're bringing everybody under one umbrella so that we can have the proper conversation and then we can chart a route for our process.
Okay.
So the normal cat pushers you're seeing on the street, we're going to work with them to give them the proper PPE, what we call personal protective equipment.
Okay.
Even their cats, we're discussing on what standard the cat should be. So things like that are going on. The discussion are going on, and then we're designing what will work. And like we said, in waste management, it's not one size fits all. If you are operating in Ikoyi, it's different from when you're operating in Ajangbadi or you're operating in Aja axis.
It has to be area specific.
Yeah, in waste management, it is called the location and locality.
Okay.
The location and locality comes to play when you're designing a waste management process for a particular area. So we're working on that as an association.
All right.
And then when
we talked about pricing of waste material.
Yes, the pricing, it's because it's a commodity market.
Okay.
So what we advocate in our association is for the market forces to determine the price.
Yeah.
We cannot shy away from it. Presently, we have several price somersaults. And it is because there are big players in the space, the off-takers. We don't have much off-takers. And like we said,
who are these off-takers? How big are they? What's their impact? The crash prices or they...
Yeah, they can decide to crash prices and they can decide to increase the price, depend on their need.
Are they independent of your association, for instance?
Well, prior to now, they are independent of the association, but we're bringing some of them are part of our association now. And this is why we decided to bring everybody on board so that we can have this conversation and then we can have these models of pricing.
Okay.
We're looking at the price index within the association. So all these things are developing gradually. And I think he asked
it's talked about pricing of reprocessed materials.
Yeah, it's all the same because it's what you buy that you process and then you sell. So because across the value chain in recycling or in waste management, there are value at every stage. When you collect mixed waste, there's a value for it. When it is sorted, when it is separated and all the impurities are removed, are separated from it, you've added value to it. And then when it gets to someone who is an aggregator who either builds it, is added value to it because when it's built, it is compacted and then you have more space. And then for logistic purpose, it's easier for you to carry or transport build materials than lose materials. So there are values. And then the person who is pre-processing, like someone who is turning the aluminum cans to ingots. That is not a final product. The ingots is now what is going to be used in the aluminum industry to produce another product. So that ingot now is another value from build material. It's been turned to ingots now is another value. Then it gets to the manufacturer. That's another value. So that's the value chain. So there is price across the value chain.
Right.
You have to add value to. So we're discussing with all stakeholders.
Yeah.
Because if you don't bring all stakeholders on board, and you're just talking to people at the downstream, then the people at the upstream can shortchange the people at the downstream.
All right. One last question that the IBJ asked is quality of reprocessed material.
Yeah.
He's asking what's your organization doing as regards quality. Is there some regulation as regards what quality of reprocessed materials should be?
Well, like in our session, what we're working on towards that is to have what we call a technical working group.
Okay.
And in our technical working group, there will be standards for material, because what we're looking to do at the end of it is to be able to aggregate members' sorted materials or pre-processed materials, and then we look for an off-taker.
Okay.
So everyone is on the same page. Not because you're doing a ton, you're not getting buyer. Because the industry is volume-driven, but it is calculated in kg.
All right.
So if I'm doing 20 kg and someone is doing 1 kg, people might want to just patronize me because they get what they need. But the person who's doing 1 kg in the industry as well is contributing his own quota. So what we're looking to do with our technical working group is to be able to harness everyone's work. Then at the end of the day, we have what we call like a transfer loading station or a storage where every members can bring their product. But before you can come to that, we bring your materials to that product.
Right.
There has to be a quality standard. It has to be a standard for us to be able to market.
I really, yes, Mr. Adebola.
Yeah, let me quickly add to. It's a free market, an open market.
Yeah.
And then which is being determined by the quality of product you churn out. Your off-taker will determine that. There are different levels of quality which is being sought after by different off-takers.
Okay.
Meanwhile, as a recycler, whether as an aggregator or whatever you are, you definitely need to, with the technical committee, good. I mean, they could do some monitoring and then advisory role. However, a recycler needs to know that once you have a high quality product, you have a very good return on your sales. Because the lower the quality, the lower the income you get from it. So the market itself determines or ensures that you have
a certain quality is maintained.
It's maintained. It's
right. During the break, Uncle Debola, I was saying that I really don't want us to come back to come out this again.
We don't want to come
because we're out of time, completely out of
God.
time. But what I would do is you guys will give out your social media handles except Twitter to the public, and so they can ask you all the questions they want to ask you. Some people last week when we finished were asking about the app that you mentioned, for instance. Can we mention the app again? What's that called?
Pacam. It's called Pacam.
P-A-C-K?
No, P-A-K-A-M.
P-A-K-A-M. Pacam. So that app, people can
You can download it. It's a way Lagos State is working towards getting everybody involved and making recycling at the doorstep easy.
So when you say getting everybody involved, it means that they can make money.
Yeah,
of course.
You get incentives, and then you get money in your wallet. There's a wallet on the app where you aggregate whatever you give.
Okay, so we have to go now. Who is going to go first? How can people reach you?
I think Femi should go because I don't do social media except the one you don't want us to mention. And
okay,
so,
all right. We can't mention it. But how about email? Uncle Abba.
Okay.
I'm an email now. What's
of
the email?
Of course. Okay.
What's the email?
adebolagb at richball.com.
At richball.com. Richball is RICHBOL.
Yes.
.com.
Adebola, ADEBOLAGB at richball, RICHBOL.com.
All right.
Okay. My email is drfia, DRFIA04 at gmail.com. And my Instagram handle is drfia04.
All right. We have to go now, gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming. I'm Sheriff Quadry. Good morning, Lagos.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We'll be right back.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info.